you, lovely? Oh, it's good to see you.
What are you doing standing there? Come on in. Christ, Vera, I thought you were going to keep us standing out there all night. That's pelting it down. I couldn't get that bloody thing to work. You know something? I'm scared of pushing the wrong button.
For Christ's sake, Vera, there's only 2 buttons on it. I bet you don't have that bother, Jim. You always press the right button, eh? That's what I hear anyway.
You leave Jim alone. Do you hear now? Jim, you can press my button any day.
You know this isn't a bad wee place at all, Vera. It's quite handy. When did you move in?
The day before yesterday. I moved all my stuff down the day of the funeral.
Did you get back to the house yet?
No, not yet. Mrs. Graham, the woman from the housing executive, she drove us up here. When we got here, all the stuff had already been moved in. I suppose there wasn't that much. The beds were made, but everything else was just as you see it, just lying around. I've done nothing since. But you can see that for yourself. I went over to the shop for a wee while yesterday. But I couldn't face going back to the house. Not just yet, Shirley. I don't know if I'll ever be able to go back. How's your mummy?
She's not well at all, Vera. You'd have thought she was all right the day of the funeral, talking to people and thanking them and that. But then yesterday, she was very down. She didn't say a word. It's the same again today. Not a word, just nodding at you. I'm very worried about her. I know her and Eddie had their differences, but she was very fond of him. You couldn't say a bad word about him.
And he was fond of her.
He was indeed.
God, you remember how he used to keep her going?
The bugger used to keep everyone going. She look at how he used to keep Jim here going.
Aye, he was a devil all right. But at the end of the day, there was no harm in him. He was only taking the piss.
He said more than his prayers, God rest him.
And talking of prayers, do you remember how my ma used to go on for not saying his prayers?
Aye, and then he would recite the Our Father, or the Hail Mary in Irish. In Irish, if you don't mind. And my ma would think he was mocking, and she'd get very angry.
Well, he was mocking, wasn't he? And I wasn't right of him.
And he knew them 2 prayers perfectly in Irish. Every last word from beginning to end. Where did he learn them? He didn't know anything else in Irish, did he?
Where the hell do you think he learnt them?
He used to worry about your ma, being upset that he didn't pray. He'd talk about it, especially if we went down to your mum's and everybody there and had a good time. Oh, he hated doing anything that annoyed her. Listen, Vera, are we going to have a cup of tea or what? Do you know, I was that glad to see you, I forgot all about the tea.
Vera, you don't seem organised to make tea. You'd never get a job in Europa.
I know. There's cups about there somewhere. They were the first things I got out when I got here.
And the last?
Josie, you're a bit too past remarkable, my girl. If it was anyone else, you'd get clobbered. Oh, Josie's all right. You say whatever you like, girl. Anyway, I know the place is a tip. Haven't done a thing since I got here. Whatever day it was. Couldn't even open a suitcase or a plastic bag. I don't even know if I'll stay here.
Jesus, Vera, where would you go?
Now you're asking. Listen, Josie, are you going to give me a hand here? Vera, we just brought some tea and stuff. It's only today we managed to get this address, and we weren't sure when you moved in, and we didn't even know if you had a kettle or not.
Aye, and a wee bit of the other stuff.
I trust you anyway.
There you are, love.
Here, Josie. Does this remind you of anything?
Hasn't it not? Still have nightmares?
It wasn't that bad. I know one thing for certain. I'd love to be able to do it again.
We used to go out now and again on a Sunday, for a picnic into the country. That was when my dad was alive. The whole lot of us in my dad's wee car. Don't know how we all fitted in, but none of us was ever left behind. Well, one Sunday anyway, we arrived out in the country someplace. Can't find where it was. And we were starving. I don't know how many of us there was now. There could have been 8 of us. Well, anyway, we sat down and the sandwiches went round and my ma starts to make the tea. Hot water, milk, everything out. By God, and she forgotten the tea bags, and my poor dad, God rest him, he was near in tears. Some of us still haven't forgiven him.
Well, we haven't forgot anything this evening. Here, see to yourselves, there's plenty more where that came from. We're gonna need a bit of courage or something to get this place sorted out. Did you see yesterday's telly, Vera?
Yesterday's? The one with the photograph of all your ones carrying the coffin? Aye, I saw it. Your mummy looked well, didn't she? Aye, we all looked well.
Ah, it takes a funeral. Somebody was telling me, I can't remember who it was, but in one of the photos you can see your man.
What man? The man that did it, Calderton. Apparently he's in one of the photographs, in the background, along the road as the funeral went past. I don't know which paper. I haven't seen it myself yet. I don't know if I want to see it.
It's in the Anti-Town Gazette. I have it here. Do you want to have a wee look at it, Vera?
No thanks, Shirley. Not just yet. Keep it safe from me, will ye?
I will.
How did you know it was, what's his name, Calderton that did it?
Jesus, Madge, wasn't I there?
I know that, love, but wasn't he wearing a mask?
Oh, he was. Well, it was him all right. It was Calderton. There's no doubt about that. He was no further away from me than you are now, Shirley. The shape of him, and the smell of him as well. Oh, even if he hadn't have opened his mouth, you would have recognised him. But he spoke, and you couldn't mistake him. His mate Tousey was there as well. Although I didn't see him, he was standing on the stairs. Look, the two of them go everywhere together. You never see one without the other.
It must have been awful.
And do you know something? I seen them today again. Do you know the way I said I went over to the shop? Well, I was sitting behind the counter, just me and Ali. She made me a wee cup of tea and we're sitting having a chat. And then the two of them marched. They bought 25s. You want to see the way they just stood there, staring and smirking. You know that sort of a dirty smirk? Well, you could tell what they were thinking. And then they turned to walk out, and Calderton, looking over his shoulder, talking out dirty talk to Tousey, looking at me. Look, they were always like that.
Had you seen him before, Vera? Like, what I mean is, did you know who he was before all this happened?
Aye, I knew him. Not very well. But Eddie knew him. Him and his mate Tousey used to drink in the Abercrombie. Sure was somebody in the Crombie that told Eddie he was on a list.
A list? What are you on about?
Jesus Christ, Madge, I don't believe you're as innocent as you make out. Eddie was warned about 2 weeks ago to get the hell out of Belfast because his name was on a list to get shot.
And why did he not get out?
Because he was stubborn, that's why. Nobody's going to tell me where to live or where not to live. That sort of attitude. Big, stubborn, ignorant, fucking gulpin', that's what he was.
I don't think he really believed it, Vera, that he really was on a list.
Did he mention it to you?
I did.
What did I tell you? Fucking big gulpin'. He warned me not to breathe a word and there he is telling you.
I think he was more worried than later on. He was worried about you and the wee girl.
It's an awful bloody place.
Oh, you can say that again. I'm sorry, Madge. I wasn't getting at you. But it should never have happened. And I know he was worried at the start after he found out. But then he became more relaxed about the whole thing. I think he spoke to somebody, maybe one of Calderton's mates, and he thought he was in the clear that the threat had been lifted. I know one thing for certain. He was queer and relaxed the night it happened.
You'll not forget that night in a hurry, will you?
No, I won't. Never. Do you know something? It was one of the nicest wee evenings we ever had since we met. He was all relaxed and so was I. He didn't go out that night. He came straight home from work, had his dinner and didn't move the whole evening. This thing happened at work and he killed himself laughing about it. You know the way it's been so cold this last couple of weeks. You can imagine what it would be like out in the sight. He said the only sure way to keep warm in winter was to wear a pair of women's tights. And that's what he did. Apparently that's what a lot of men in the building trade do.
Fuck, I never knew that.
He said they were sitting that morning in the hut having their tea. I think there might have been about 8 of them. It was these 2 young lads up from the country, only started that day. You know the way Eddie would go on, asking them how they liked the big city, telling them to watch out for the women up here, not like them country girls at all. They were quite civil lads, but they're enjoying the crack. And then Eddie says to them, do you know there's men up in this city that wear women's tights? What do you think of that? The 2 lads apparently nearly choked on their sandwiches. Eddie says, no, seriously, even in this sight, would you be mates with them? The young lad says, what I fuck, I keep miles away from a bugger like that. Then Eddie dropped his trousers and showed the lads the tights. 2 lads couldn't believe it. Oh, well, he laughed about that the whole night. That was the kind of him. He got on well with the ones from the country.
The bugger got on well with everyone.
What time did it happen, Vera?
You mean the shooting?
Aye.
It's hard to say exactly. But it was after 2 sometime. We weren't long in bed. He had got up to go down to the toilet and have a bit of a wash. I went down to the toilet then. Maybe I shouldn't say this, but we're going to have a wee bit of nookie, like, you know. He was lying on the bed and I was sitting at the side of it, just joking, you know the way you do. He was starkers, but the duvet was covering him up to his waist. And then the front door came in. There wasn't a wild noise or anything, but you knew something was wrong.
The two of them came running up the stairs. Calderton came running into the room. He was wearing one of those masks, a balaclava. He came round to the far side of the bed from where I was, the side next to the road. The strange thing was, we weren't too afraid at this point. It was so sudden. The thing I remember is this. Himself, big hard man and all that he was very shy. He pulled the duvet up, right up to his neck, you know the way a girl would. Said nothing. And then your man Calderton said, "Right, big fella, say your prayers." And he shot him 4 times. Didn't give him time to say any prayers. Poor Eddie didn't say a thing. He just slumped back in the bed. I knew right away he was dead. Then Calderton went out. Towser must have been blocking his way, just standing there. Calderton said, "Out to fuck." And they went on down the stairs and out.
Who is it? Who's there?
Hello? It's only me, Peter V, out of Tyrone Street. Was that Sharon I saw coming in? Wee Sharney from Denmark Street.
Let him in.
Well, a fuck let him in. I thought you couldn't get in here without authority. What's he doing here? How did you get in?
I'm living here. Moved in 3 weeks ago. Me and the wife and the 2 young uns. It's a long story.
Go on, let him in. Don't be keeping him standing out there. That's all right, Vera, isn't it? He used to live around the corner from us when we were growing up.
I suppose it is. I've just got a bit of a shock, that's all. He's all right, isn't he? He's not onto anything.
No, Peter's all right.
Oh, aye.
Yous remember Peter V, don't you? Tyrone Street.
Aye, of course we do.
Your fella bit the shade out of Tommy Doo for knocking our Sharney off her bike at the bottom of Tyrone Street. You always had a wee thing for our Sharney, didn't you?
Oh, I did indeed. Still have. Do you remember that day you fell off the bike?
But I do, like it was yesterday. Ach, those were the days. You wouldn't have thought then that things would turn out the way they have now, would you?
You wouldn't. No. You would not.
Do you remember the times we used to walk down to the Armo Baths, the whole gang of us? Big Morris McGlinchey and Smithy Noble, wee Jerry Harkin, and Heavenly Kevin, and your man that was the good footballer. Can't mind his name now. Well, anyway, here you wouldn't walk that way on your own now, not in the evenings anyway. You'd be taking your life in your hands.
God, that brings back memories. Them big clumps of lads heading to the baths, them horsing about and acting a wagon all, and there's our Sharney stuck in the middle and her all unconcerned like.
At the time she fell off the bike, she ended up with a scar somewhere. Wouldn't let you see it. And then she stopped going to the baths in case any of us did so. Isn't that right, wee girl?
You still won't see it, big lad.
I'm sure shortly after that, we all stopped going.
Well, now that you 2 lovebirds have done your bit for old times, tell me, Peter, where you living now?
I don't live anywhere, Josie. I'm here.
I'm sorry, Peter. I should have been more tactful. But tact was never one of my strong points. But I'm sure you knew that anyway.
Don't worry about it, Josie. No harm done. It's a long story.
I can imagine.
It's funny, you know. One minute you're a normal, ordinary person, wondering what the traffic's like on the Armo Road, hoping there won't be any hold-ups like the evening before. And the next minute, the whole bloody thing's turned upside down. I was travelling around with a bomb fixed under my van for 3 days and it didn't know a thing about it. It didn't go off, but there were 3 other vans in the city that did. The same gang placed them.
Were they the vans with the building workers in them? You know, the lads up from the country?
Aye.
And how did you find out they were attached to your van?
It was the army. We were on the building site.
It was dinner time, or shortly after. We were all heading back onto the job. All of a sudden, the place was surrounded. Soldiers coming out of everywhere. Red lights, blue lights, sirens, whatnot.
everything stopped. And then they surrounded my wee van. I couldn't take it in. Thought I was going to be arrested. I goes up to this big policeman and asked him what's up, and he didn't know. And this soldier comes up to me. "This your van, mate?" I said, "Yes, it was." And he says, "You're one lucky bloody Paddy." "What do you mean?" says I. "You've been driving around for 3 days with a bomb right onto your arse, mate, primed and ready to go." All work stopped on the site. They wouldn't let me go home, or even phone Mara. That's the wife. She and the 2 kids were moved out of the house immediately. They brought all her stuff away. And that night, they took me here. That was 3 weeks ago. Mara and the kids were already here. Girls haven't been back to school. I haven't been back to work. We're all seeing the doctor. He has to come here, see us. I haven't been outside these 4 walls.
That's awful, Peter.
Okay. It doesn't compare to what yous have been through. I read about Eddie in the Irish news. I couldn't believe it. I knew it was your Eddie right away. I should have been at the wake and the funeral. I wanted to go. I tried, but our nerves wouldn't let me.
That's all right, Peter. We understand entirely, don't we, girls? You've enough on your own plate. Mind you, I was on the lookout for you.
Do you hear that, girls? I was on the lookout for you.
You knew already, didn't you?
Aye, I did. He was just a wee lad. He was the youngest in your house, wasn't he? I don't think he was even at school when we were all knocking about together. You never met my Mara, did you?
No, we never did.
Can I go and ask her to come in? I'm sure it would give her a lift to meet you all.
Aye, please do. It'd be lovely to meet her.
God, that man has changed.
Would you not have changed if you'd been driving around in that van of his?
We've all changed. Maybe more than we know.
I'll say one thing for him. He seems to be a nice, decent man. I don't remember that much about him. You and him were part of that older crowd. But I do remember that you used to spend a wild lot of time together. Were you his boyfriend, girlfriend, like? Were you his curtain?
No, I don't think we ever got that far.
I see you, Shawnee. You take the biscuit for your own half answers. Were you or weren't you?
But it's the truth. Ach, we did everything together when we were growing up. We were together all the time. I don't think we even knew just how close of friends we were. And then when we got to that boyfriend, girlfriend age, as you call it, sure, we didn't know what to do about it. Been to the pictures a few times now on dates. But we didn't fancy each other. You know what I mean? Mind you, we tried. God knows we tried. But just wouldn't work for us. Then we used to just laugh about it.
Ah, you just couldn't get the old boat to float. Is that right,
I
Shawnee?
suppose so.
Well, I never had that problem. I mean, the first night I met Eddie, you know something, that boat was floating before we even got talking.
I know, Vera, I know. Before you know it, you and that boat are halfway round the world, and the bloody thing sinks. Ah, that sinking feeling.
I'm sorry, love. You're just settling in. It's not easy, is it? Don't think I'm trying too hard. You can see that for yourself. The funeral. It's my fault that Peter wasn't there. He wanted to go. And as a matter of fact, he was getting ready and all. But I just wouldn't let him. I didn't want to be on my own, even with the children here and all. Oh, for heaven's sake, Maura, don't worry about it. It's not important. Not to me, anyway. You've enough on your own plate. What's it like, Maura? This place, what's it really like? The place is all right, isn't it, Peter? There's nothing wrong with it.
It's what's going on out there. Aye, and what's going on in here. That's the problem, not the place.
Your wee girls, how are they settling in?
Look, I suppose they're okay. But neither of them's been back to school yet. The big one, she's doing her 11 plus this year. Bright wee thing. But I don't know what's going to happen with all this bother. The other one, she's 9. Look, not a care in the world. But this is Sugar. She's a bit like her father. You've one, haven't you? A wee girl.
Aye, she's over at my mother's for the time being.
I'm sorry, Jim. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to be ignorant or anything, but I just didn't place you there. Honest to God, I didn't recognise you there for a minute. Did you ever get that wee business off the ground? Peter here thought it would go well for you, but sure you didn't come back. You moved out soon after that. Peter, this is the guy I was telling you about, was setting up the window cleaning business. Peter was going to clear out a wee corner of the garage for you for your ladders and stuff. Would have fitted in all right. You measured it all out.
No, I didn't take it any further.
What business was that? Am I in the dark here or something?
Just a wee notion I had.
Oh, sure, you would have taken up next to no space in the garage. The ladders could have hung lengthways along the walls, and I could have made a wee partition. I thought maybe you had been back, you know, like since we left. I'm sorry I wasn't there, but you know the score.
Aye, I've given up on the notion anyway.
No harm to you, Jim. I couldn't see you as a window cleaner. No head for heights.
You moved in a couple of days ago, Vera.
Yeah, she moved in the day before yesterday, just after Eddie's funeral. We wanted to come up to give her a wee hand. It took most of yesterday to get the address of the housing people. Only person seems to know anything about Vera's situations is Mrs. Graham, and she seems to be out most of the time.
Oh, I can understand it. They're kept busy down there. What do you call it? The secure accommodation unit.
They are. That's the sad thing about it. What other country in the world would need places like this, where families have to hide for fear of their neighbours? And don't be telling me it's not neighbours involved in these actions. It is, in this wee town. And that's all this is, a wee town. Everybody knows everybody else's business.
It is. It's an awful bloody place. God, but it was a great wee city one time. You could go anywhere. You could talk to anyone. You could have a yarn. Not anymore. You've got to be on the lookout. All the time. But you don't even realise you're doing it. But always that wee bit suspicion. Always that wee fear. And then something like this happens. It becomes a big fear.
Aye.
It's over your life.
You know, what happened to you and your family and Vera here and her family, it changes you. And it changes everybody around you. And it can happen so fast. Just like that. Vera was telling us about the night it happened. They just walked in, 2 of them, no bother, cool as you like, straight up the stairs, into the bedroom. Didn't even have to knock down a door. Changed the whole world for Vera, and for the whole of us forever. Then they just walked out.
And I bet you a tenner they were swaggering about the pub the next day too. And them covered their stupid tattoos and bragging about it. About what? About what they did to Vera here and to the rest of us. Big fellas, fucking big fellas.
That sort will come to a sore end. They always do.
And they just walked into your house, like, and up the stairs.
Aye,
And they knew which room was yours.
they did. Mind you, there's not too many rooms. Just another bedroom and the bathroom. They were just in and out, like a shot. Oh, God, forgive me.
Did you have any strange visitors that day? Like funny electricity men or waterboard people or anything?
No, but anyway, the only person that was up the whole day was Jim here. Called up late in the afternoon. Eddie had called at his mother's coming home from work and forgot his lunchbox. Eddie's mother sent Jim here up with it. Eddie daren't be without his wee lunchbox.
Oh, that'll be your mother, all right. Do you remember the wee lunch boxes she used to pack for us when we'd all be heading up to Alexander Park? Do you know, I was just thinking.
Here, I'm going to pop in next door. I'll only be a wee minute.
You can use that one in through there.
No, not with all you women about. There'll be a queue in a minute if I'm not mistaken. Seriously, no. I'm just going to pop in and check on the wains and make sure they're up to no devilment. I'll only be a couple of minutes. Here, well, I need my passport to get in the next time.
Go away on me and stop your out gigging there.
Do you know something, Maura? You got the pick of the fellas at Tyrone Street. I wouldn't say it in front of them, mind you, but you did. And I'll tell you something else. That one over there near beat you to it.
Childhood sweethearts, Maura. He was my best friend ever.
Oh, I've heard all about you, Sharon. Oh, Ormond Baths, Alexander Park, bicycles that broke down. We used to keep each other going. But there was never any needle, like, well, maybe a wee bit. And we were always falling out. As a matter of fact, we were falling out quite a lot. And I'd say, are you going back to your wee Sharney now?
You come up by Carr's Glen direction, is that right?
That's right. My father originally came from down where you grew up. The family owned a shop at the bottom of your street before it was sold to McGinley's.
Wait a minute. Is your father Mr. Martin?
That's right.
So you're wee Maura Martin? Sure, we met before we were wee girls when you were 5 or 5 and a half. Your dad brought you round to our house. They used to knock around together when they were growing up, and when your family owned the shop.
God, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knocking about with everybody else. Spare me, spare me.
It's only me.
Oh, everything's in order. I just want to know when you're coming back.
Peter, did you know our dad, Maura's dad, were best mates? Went everywhere together. I'm sure their mummies used to pack them up their wee lunches and they used to head off to Alexander Park, the wee lunch boxes in their wee hands.
Aye, oh, I knew. I heard it all. The first night me and Maura met up in the Floral Hall, she told me that her father's people had come from her wee street, way back years ago. Well, anyway, it seemed like years ago. It was a godsend for giving me something to talk about for the rest of the night. I was running out of things to say.
Do you hear him? She talked and talked all night. You never shut up.
You see, what did I tell you? In this sweet town, everyone knows everyone else. We are all neighbours.
Hang on a minute, wee girl.
Is there a Mr. Jim Simpson there? Oh, Mr. Jim Simpson.
Hang on a minute there, wee girl. I'll give you a hand on that. That's a well complicated contraption. For a place that's supposed to be secure, it's worse than the bloody airport. There'll soon be charges to park.
Yes, this is Jim Simpson speaking.
Mr. Simpson, there's a young lady down here. Wants to see you. See if she has a message for you. Seems to be urgent. Are you coming down? Are you still there?
I'll be down in a minute. Right. I'll be off then.
For a place that's supposed to be so secure, how come some doll can just walk off the street out of the blue and say, "Is Mr. Jim Simpson here?" I'll tell you what, Bear, anyone comes here looking for me, tell him I'm not here. No way. And I'll tell you something else, that bugger will be away all evening and we'll have to find our own way home.
Speaking of home, I don't know about you girls, but I'm going to have to go soon. And you know, Josie's right about Jim. You know what he's like with his wee messages. If he ages, I'm not going to hold my breath waiting on him anyway.
Neither am I. I'll go with you, Sharney. I suppose we'll have to get a taxi. Peter, how do we go about getting a taxi out of this place?
The best thing to do is to get the caretaker to book it for you. That way you won't have any hassle with identification at the door and stuff like that, and you'll know you're fairly safe.
So what do? Just go down and talk to your man?
Aye, it's as good a way as any. The taxi can be here in less than 5 minutes.
Oh, I see the lie of the land now. Leave Josie here all on her own some. Josie'll find her own way home. No harm to you, Vera, but I'm going to have to head on with Easons.
Hey, not to worry, girls. Listen, it was so good to see you. You've no idea how good. You'll come again soon, won't you?
We will.
I'll leave you down to the front.
I know, love. It's a big change. And it doesn't bear thinking about. You Maybe we'll get through it.
Do you think so, Laura?
God forgive me, Vera, for saying this, but seeing you here tonight, with all your bits and pieces about you like this, it's helped me. I know it has. And it's selfish of me. But it's true, and I'd be lying if I said anything different.
It was good to see you too. You've no idea. The girls are great, don't get me wrong, and I'd be lost without them. But seeing you here tonight was somehow different. I can't explain it.
You get on well with the girls. You don't seem so close. That Josie one's a character.
Oh, she is. Oh, she's the best in the world. She'd do anything for you, she really would. God, she was only getting going there the night. You want to be with her at a do, like a wedding or something? She takes out altogether. Sometimes I think she goes that far, she embarrasses Sharney. Sharney would be a wee bit more reserved, if that's the word.
That was sort of strange how Jim left so sudden like.
Aye, I can't understand that at all. How did that doll know he was here? You know the way Mrs. Graham made such a hoo-ha about not giving the address of this place to anybody we didn't know. I didn't give the address to anybody. It took the girls nearly a whole day to get it out of the housing people. And then this makes you uneasy.
Jim fella, seems a nice, quiet fella. Not much to say for himself. He was able to put himself across all right the day he was up at our house.
He is a wee bit on the quiet side. I don't know him that well, but the girls and the whole family think the world of him.
That'll be Peter.
I'll go on with him. Is it okay if I call back later, before bedtime, like?
Please do. It's great having you here. I'm so close.
Good night, Vera.
Good night.
Good night, Vera.
Good night. Dropped off? Were you knocking along? Here, what are you doing standing there? Come on in.
Just Vera, I was really worried. I must be jumpy or something.
Don't be worrying about waking me, Maura. It's good to know somebody's worried about me. Must have dropped off or something. What time is it anyway?
Almost 11.
Must have been sleeping all right, boy. Very special old peel. Must be Josie's. Left it behind. Do you fancy joining me in a wee nightcap on Josie?
No, I don't think I should.
Oh, Josie wouldn't mind. Do you know something? I think she'd be quite pleased. Maybe you're teetotal.
No, I'm not teetotal or anything. Enjoy a drink like everybody else. But since all this has happened, just afraid to touch it. Well, the way things, you could just become dependent on it. You've heard it happen.
I know what you mean.
All right, I might try a wee one.
Good.
Not bad, eh? Peter was saying a few things to me when we went back in earlier. Doesn't get any better.
Oh?
Seems Jim was involved in what happened to us and what happened to you. It's a long story and it's not good.
Can you talk about it?
You really want to hear?
Well, I'd rather hear it from you than somebody else.
You know that detective fella that was on our case? He was dead on. Kept Peter informed every step of the way. Seems they knew each other from way back. Peter used to play on the Newsboys football team. A right tough wee lot they were too.
The detective fella. Now, I don't know his name. He played for one of those other teams, came from down New York Road direction. When he heard all about this, he remembered Peter, and Peter remembered him. Apparently, the bomb was placed under Peter's van outside of the house, and it couldn't have been done at any other time. The van was always parked in front of the garage, and the gates were always locked. There was a whole lot of tools and equipment in it, and that was one of the reasons why Peter got to take the van home, so he would keep it secure. When that detective fella heard about the window cleaner being up and looking around our garage, he said to Peter, "That's your man. That's the guy who set you up." Now, Peter never mentioned anything until tonight. Never said what that detective had said. Then when he heard about what me and Jim were talking about, the penny dropped for Peter. That's why he asked you, did you have any funny electricity men up at your house that day? Then when he heard Jim was up with the lunchbox, that settled it.
So that's why he went back to your apartment?
I suppose so.
Suppose he phoned that detective fella?
I don't know who he phoned, Vera, and I don't want to know, and I'm not going to ask.
God help you, Maura. It doesn't get any better, does it?
That's the way it is. Seems he was mixed up in one of those paramilitary groups. You know, a sort of intelligence officer, infiltrated communities and set people up. That's what that detective said, and he would know.
Thanks, Maura. Thanks for telling me. I know it's worrying, but you know what? At least I know the truth. And it's better than people dancing around you telling you half-truths. Thanks.
I knew we'd get to like this stuff.
Oh, I see. Another thought for poor Peter, and I'm only next door.
Away on me. How's things?
Ah, not too bad. Big one's dropped off, but the wee one, she's a different kettle of fish. She says she can't sleep. Says she's worried about her mummy. She says she wants to see you and hug you, so she knows that you're all right, and then she promises to go to sleep. Sorry for butting in, Vera, but you know how it is.
God, you don't have to apologise to me, Peter. I know exactly how it is. I was just about to kick this one out. She's drinking me out of house and home. God, out of house and home, the things I say.
Look, I'll go on, Vera. Is it okay if I call in the morning and say hello? Bring the girls with me? And then the wee one will know I'm here safe with you. And enjoyed my wee visit here. It's helped me a lot.
Good seeing you too, Maura. Peter was just saying to Maura how good it is to have the two of you here and so close. Listen, I'm grand. I'm 100%. I feel much better. Go you two in and sort your two wains. And sure, I'll see you in the morning.
Aye, then we'll be going then. And you know, maybe all this old nonsense will end sooner than we think. We'll all get our own wee lives back again. I don't know, but it can't go on and on. Maybe, as the song says, tomorrow will be a bright, brand new day.
You're listening to BBC Radio Ulster. And now for the evening news, we will cross to the news desk with Jonathan Campbell. Reports are coming in that the body of a man has been found at the rear of a block of flats in the north of the city. Information is sketchy at this time, but it is believed to be that of a man in his 20s. The discovery was made following a telephone call to a Belfast newspaper earlier. We will let you have further information as it becomes available. Meanwhile, in West Belfast, police have investigated...
The bastards! The bastards! What did they have to go and do that for? What?
Peter! come home.
Come on, Peter, it's okay, it's okay. Come on.
Come on.
Good night, wee girl.
You too, wee girl.
Don't you worry, Eddie, my wee love. Don't you worry at all. Your wee Vera's gonna be all right. You're damn right she's gonna be all right. So's her beautiful daughter. By Christ, she is. Good night, Mia Sugosha.